Hello, my name is Christy, and I changed my diet to a high protein, moderate fat, low carb diet in April of 2024. It is currently 3:19 of 25, and I am here with a video of what I eat in a day on my keto journey. It is about 11 o'clock. I walked for an hour this morning on my treadmill. I do try to walk in the morning a bit just to kind of like get my body moving and going, and it feels good. If I can, I walk outside, but today we're having a blizzard, so I walked on my treadmill. I am now ready for my first meal of the day. So I have been fasting since 5 o'clock yesterday. So I have been fasting for 18 hours. I am going to have some avocado protein pudding. So it's avocado, a little bit of milk, and a keto chow. So keto chow actually has your electrolytes in it. It's got tons and tons and tons of electrolytes in it. So I don't need to have an electrolyte drink with it. Um, I also have my coffee, which I made with 1 cup of Fairlife whole milk and 2 shots of espresso. And then I have some shrimp that I actually cooked with the shells on to add some more flavor. And then there's just a bit of salt and pepper. I cooked them in broth, so there's really kind of nothing else there with them. So I'll be back with my second meal. It is 2:30 and I am getting ready to make my second meal of the day. So this is a recipe that is new to me and I want to try it out. It's a chicken mozzarella dish that I will start on the stovetop and then transfer it to the oven. I have a large skillet here, and this skillet can go into my oven, so that's part of why I chose this one. But I also do need a pretty large one because I have 6 chicken breasts that need to go in here. So I've got a tablespoon of olive oil in here. I'm just going to allow that to warm up over a medium-high heat. I have 1 onion that I finely diced sitting here. That recipe actually calls for 1.5 onions, but I didn't want to do a half onion. I'm just going to stick with my 1 onion. I have some pre-minced garlic that I'm going to use because we need 6 cloves of garlic, so that'll be 2 tablespoons of this. I have 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. And then I have some seasonings here, which my olive oil is hot, so I need to get those onions into my pan. And I need to just cook these for a couple of minutes or so until they get softened. So I'll get those all spread out. And then while they are cooking, I'm going to get my seasonings all ready for me. Okay. So I have just a little bowl here. I am going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So there's 1, 2, and 3. 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground black pepper. 1, 2, and 3. 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. 1, 2, and 3. And then I need, the recipe calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon of my red pepper flakes, but I know that my family is a little sensitive to heat, so I think I'm only going to add half a teaspoon of my red pepper flakes. So there's 1/4 and 2/4 to make a half. Okay, and then I need my Italian seasoning. And of this, I actually need 1.5 teaspoons. So I'm going to have to do 6 of these. There we go. And then when I'm ready to get these in, I can just dump this whole thing in. And I don't really need to mix it, but I like to. It just makes me feel better, like I'm kind of giving it a head start. right, so these have started to soften and they are browning a little, so that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and add in my garlic, which I need 2 tablespoons of this. I'm going to be careful not to like put it on the bottom of my pan because garlic can burn really easily. And so if I'm setting it just like right on the bottom of my pan, it can burn and then get bitter, and that's just really an unpleasant flavor. So I like to put it like on top of my onions and then get it mixed around so that it's not just like sitting there for a while. I'm going to turn my heat down too. It's just a little hot. Okay, so now I'm ready to add in my chicken breast, which I am using my thin cut chicken breasts. I hope these all fit in here. That's a big one. Okay, and I just want to brown these on one side for a couple of minutes, and then I'll flip them over and brown them on the other side. Okay, so I flipped these over. I did mess up though. I was supposed to add my crushed tomatoes and spices before I put the chicken in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add those in now. And try to kind of stir them around a bit. Get those onions mixed in, get all those seasonings kind of all over. Make a little bit of a mess, because that's what I do. Okay, so now I'm gonna get this into my oven that is preheated to 400 degrees, and I'm supposed to cook it for 10 minutes, flip my chicken, cook them for another 10 minutes. But my chicken breasts are pretty thin, so I'm not sure that they're gonna need that whole cooking time. I think I'll actually flip them at 5 minutes, and I'll check for that internal temperature of 165. So that's going to bake for like 5 to 7 minutes on one side. And then I flip it over and then I add some mozzarella cheese. So I'm going to add some fresh mozzarella cheese slices to the dish, and then I'll bake it the rest of the way until it gets to that 165. In the meantime, I'm going to get the other part of our meal ready. So we are going to be having either cottage cheese bowls or yogurt bowls, which it just depends on who it is. So, like my kids will eat a cottage cheese bowl. My husband will probably eat cottage cheese. I usually have yogurt, but today I am going to try some skyr. I've never tried this before. I've heard that it's really good. It's higher in protein than my Greek yogurt, although not by a lot. So there's 18 grams of protein in this for 3/4 of a cup. The yogurt that I use has 15 grams of protein. So it's not a whole lot more. It's not cost effective, but I just wanted to try it. It's not something that's going to replace my regular Greek yogurt. Also, just because to get this, I have to travel, it's like between 30 and 40 minutes away to the Whole Foods, and I'm just not going to do that on a regular basis anyway. But I did want to give it a try. I was in that area, so I stopped and I got some. So that's what I'm going to have with my frozen blackberries that I am sauteing. So I'm going to give this a try. It's good. It tastes very similar to Greek yogurt. Like, I almost can't tell the difference, except that it does slightly taste more like sour cream than yogurt, which I use yogurt in place of sour cream. So, like, they're just very, very similar for me. So I don't know that I would say that it's like way better than Greek yogurt. Like, they're very similar, but it is like just slightly a little more sour. Like if I was eating like say a Mexican dish and I wanted to have like some sour cream on top and I had the choice between the two, I would choose this. I feel like it's just a little closer to sour cream, but not by a ton, and it is really good. So I'm glad that I got to try it. I'm looking forward to having it in my yogurt bowl. All right, so I've got my chicken flipped over here, and I'm just going to turn off my blueberries. Those are for my family. And add, it'll end up being, I think, 6 ounces of cheese, maybe a little more. All right, maybe 8 ounces. I'm trying to just make sure that every piece of chicken is kind of covered in cheese, which some of them are a little bigger than the others. I want to get some sauce on top of that one. There's only 8 ounces in this package, so I thought I would use like 2 slices per breast, but some of them need 3. All right, so I'm going to get this back in my oven until it's cooked through. My dish is ready. I'm actually going to have 2 servings of this. It's pretty good. I like the freshness of the tomatoes, but I feel like the chicken could be seasoned a bit more, like maybe some more salt. But it's definitely not bad. I think it just needs a little more salt. So I'll probably just kind of put some more salt on mine and finish this meal. I am going to need more today because I had planned to have pork belly. And when I got the pork belly out, I realized it wasn't pork belly. So I'm going to need to have something else. I'm just not sure what that's going to be. Okay, so I need about 400 more calories today. So I am going to make myself some oatmeal. I was going to have some bacon. I thought, well, I'll just eat some bacon. That'll be fast. But I just feel like I can't eat that much fat. So I'm going to make myself some oatmeal. I have made this in the past. I've got a cup of milk in here. I am going to add a tablespoon of my monk fruit allulose blend and 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. It's a pretty simple recipe and it's really delicious. In and of itself, it is delicious. I'm actually going to add a couple things to it to kind of just add a depth of flavor to it, but it is really good, just the original recipe. And I need 3 tablespoons of my hemp seeds, which I hope I have 3 in here. I have ordered some more. I'm just going to pour it all in because I think that's all I've got left. But I'm still waiting for it to come. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of my oat fiber. This is really just to add some oat-like flavor to the oatmeal. This is the hull of oats, and so it doesn't have any carbs in it. It's pure fiber, but it gives it kind of an oat flavor. Okay, and then I need a 1/4 cup of my coconut flakes, my shredded coconut, unsweetened, of course. And this really is what gives it the texture of oatmeal for me. And because what I'm also going to be adding is some apple pie keto chow to just bump up that, both the flavor and the protein. But then it also can mimic the apple that you might traditionally have in your like apple cinnamon oatmeal. All right, so I'm going to get that in, and I need a 1/2 teaspoon of my vanilla extract. So with the original recipe, the things you wouldn't add are the oat fiber. Oops, I need to open this. Is this the right one? Yep, it's vanilla. Is the oat fiber and then the keto chow. And like I said, the recipe is really good in and of its own, although it is a little thin. So I like to, like you should be able to eat it the day that you make it, but I like to let it sit overnight if I'm using the original recipe, just because it is a little thin for me. Or I only add like half the amount of milk. Okay, and then I'm just going to stir this all together. And I will let it sit for just a little bit, like maybe 5 minutes. We're actually going to watch a movie, and this is going to be kind of what I eat while we watch a movie. So we'll get that all set up and then I will go eat this. And I will warm it up too. I do like this warmed up. The original recipe you just eat cold, and it is good cold. But with that apple cinnamon, I like it to have it warm. Like that's how I'm used to having my oatmeal. So I do like to just warm it up a bit. And I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to eat all this, but I'll try, or at least to kind of get close to all of it. I did have a little bit of popcorn with my family as we were watching a movie, so I have a few extra calories. Popcorn doesn't actually have a ton of calories in it, but about 5 additional grams of carbs, so I just had a little bit. And then I only ate about 3/4 of my oatmeal. So I ended up with about 1,700 calories. My protein is 192, my net carbs are 44, my fat is 81, and my sodium is 4,500. So I had a pretty great day today. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow.